It's Lee here, Customer Success Manager at Snap Projections, and I'm so excited to show you the changes to our user interface. Let's go ahead and add a new client. Right away, you'll see on the left-hand side, we have this navigation panel, which didn't used to be here. This is going to allow you to jump to whatever page you want to go to next, if you didn't want to follow the natural flow by hitting the next button, but you still have that option. If I add information for John Snapper, his birth date, and as soon as I click away from his date of birth, we're going to notice this edited cell is going to change to saved. We have now implemented autosave functionality on most of the data input pages. Again, if I add his spouse, as I finish entering the data there, and hit next, it's automatically saved, and then I can continue through the flow to the next page. These will look just the same to you, the general page, the income page, and so on. I can skip right over income. I can go back to general. I can go to assets and go ahead and add in some capital assets. So how do I know which page I'm on if I do have a spouse in the projections? Well, first of all, we can see their name in brackets. So right now I'm on John's assets page. So I can go ahead and add in his RSP. And if I had made a mistake and I didn't realize that I was on John's page and I thought I was on Jane, I can use this move button. This is a move to spouse, and move that information over to her. And then I can add another one for John. So let's add a non-registered account. And I can make it a joint account, for example. I can edit rates of return. This is all the same that you're used to. But what I did want to point out was the other ways to see whose page you're on. So the most obvious one here, this is going to tell you, it's also highlighted in a darker blue, John's name. If I switch to Jane, we're going to see there now she's highlighted in darker blue. And the third place to be able to see this information is this breadcrumb menu here along the top. So we've got clients, John and Jane Snapper, and I'm specifically looking at Jane. If I switch back to John, that's going to change to John. So let's continue on through the flow here. I can go to the debts page. This used to be where we would end our initial flow and jump you out to the planning page. But right now you have the option. You can continue right to government benefits before you go to the planning page and update that information. You can skip over anything that you aren't going to be entering right now. You could go to the settings and so on. If you did, continue on hitting save and next through all of these settings pages, you end up on the final advanced page and you could click done, and this is going to take you right out to the planning page. But if I was back in my scenario setup and I wanted to go to the planning page, let's say right after debts, I just click planning pages and I'm out at my planning page. Now again, whose planning page am I on? Well, I have John, I have Jane, and then I have combined when I have a couple. So just pay attention to where the darker blue highlighting is, or you can take a look at this breadcrumb menu at the top. For John and Jane, I want to make sure that I don't forget to put in what they want to spend in retirement. So I'm going to copy that down, and the run scenario button has been moved just a little bit. It's now over on the right hand side of the page. It turned red to indicate I needed to make an update, and also I have that those menu items along the side here. By hitting that arrow, I can see I can choose to run a sustainable scenario if I'd like, or I could run a historical scenario. But if you were looking for a copy scenario, switch, delete scenario, those items have been moved. So we're giving you a hint here. Where should you look for those items? It's on this hamburger menu. Where is that located? It's up here on this black bar. So if I click on this little hamburger item, I see rename scenario, copy scenario, and delete are my options. If I want to go ahead and copy the scenario to give you information about what it looks like then, how I rename something and switch, I have a couple options. So I can click right on the name and change it there. So let's make this scenario 2. Or I can use this menu and rename it. It's the exact same functionality, it just you can get to it in different ways. So now we can see that on this menu I've got Snap Projections, I've got Clients. Those two will take me out to my client page. If I wanted to get back into my scenario I was just working on, I could show all my clients there and just click on scenario 2 to get back in. If I have more than one scenario, by clicking on the client's names, I can switch. So this is allowing me to switch scenarios, and that would be just the same as if I'd use that menu and pick switch. We also have this little notes functionality. So if I add some notes in here, this is just for me. It's not going to go in the client report. And once I've added notes, that icon changes to show you that it's filled in a little bit. So coming back to the planning page, where are we right now? We're on the combine page, and I've entered the information so far for John and Jane. If I forgot some information and I wanted to jump back to some of the entry pages, I can hover over scenario setup and I can choose the specific page that I want to go to. Maybe it was the debt section, and I'm already there. Or if I was on the planning page, I can just click scenario setup and then I can choose debts from there. So there's now many ways for you to maneuver around here. So we've looked at the scenario setup. If I did want to add a corporation, I'll just quickly show you that things change a little bit. Scenario setup looks a little different here. The choices are a little different along the left-hand navigation than they are for the personal side. So I would, I can add in my corporation name, click next to have it automatically saved, and go through the flow for my corporation. If I didn't want to finish that right now, that's fine. I can switch back out to Jane. My navigation panel changes because she has personal information as opposed to corporate information. And then again, if I wanted to go to her planning page, I just click planning pages. So it's just much more intuitive now for you to get from one page to another and see where you are. Finally, I can go to my client report, and here we've got very similar to what it used to look like. The navigation panel along the left. What we call it now is a report editor. It used to be called the create report. But again, jump to different pages, add the information that you want, decide which pages to include in the report, adjust any settings that you wish to. So here you could change the font size, the margins, the orientation, but remember to click save on this report settings page. We just don't have the autosave functionality enabled yet for this page. Let's go back to the editor. So again, any page you want to edit, report preview is going to show you based on the pages that you've selected what's your report going to look like. We have our English and French options, and then you can generate the PDF. So this warning just lets you know that while you're generating the PDF, don't make any other changes because they probably won't get included into the PDF you've already started generating. Once you've generated the report, you can download it, and you also have the option to delete a PDF. So if I did that, it just changes back to generate again if you needed to make any changes there. So then the next thing would be basically the final menu bar at the top. So if I come across, we've already talked about these items, all the way at the right hand side we have help. You can jump to our help center. So here you can see our phone number, contact us by email, and then search out any articles or jump to any sections that you're interested in. But if you didn't want to go outside to a help site, you can actually use this help menu and just pick instant answers. This is going to give you some articles that might relate to the page that you're currently on, as well as ability to type in a question. Like maybe you want to see more about CPP, you can do a search and then those articles will pop up for you. You can also click on help and say that you want to send us a new message, and this will let you send us an email. You can look at the answers here back and forth as well. Also, previous messages. If you happen to have any previous messages you wanted to refer back to, go ahead and take a look at them there. And then the last thing is our What's New article. So this is what's maybe been released since you last logged in or what's coming soon, and you can always take a look there. So finally, we've got our terms of service and privacy policy available. And if you click on your own name, you're going to be able to edit your user settings like your login and email address, your billing settings, look up when your next payment is due, and when if you needed any credit card information updates, you could do that here. Your organization settings will allow you to edit the Snap Projections name here at the top left, and integration if that's applicable to you, our referral program, and then the ability to log out. So the main things to keep in mind here are this new menu along the top black bar. Really, the benefit here is that even from my report section, I'm able to copy this scenario. So that didn't used to be able to happen in the past. You always had to be on the planning page in the past on the personal side to make a copy. But now you can do it from here, you can do it from the corporation. You just have more flexibility now for navigating through the different pages. And we're here to help, so please don't hesitate to reach out. We'd love to hear what you think, and we're here to answer any questions that you might have. So take care.